Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm your friendly neighborhood finance professor, and I wanted to say hello and answer some stock market questions that you guys sent over. So today we'll be talking mostly about the stock market and what's going on in the markets, as well as responding specifically to questions that you had about that you sent me about the stock market and market conditions and things like that. So the questions I'm going to answer are the ones that have already been submitted. So, but if you want to listen in as I answer the questions, then I think you can learn a lot. As you guys know, my background, I'm a finance professor. So this is my thing. And yeah, that's it. So hello, everybody. And also, I want you guys to know that we're Black First on this platform. So everything that I speak about, every issue that I bring up is within the context of the Black community. I honestly, not to say I don't care about other people, but the truth is I don't care about other people that much because I got too much work to do in my community. And Black wealth is the real wealth. That's the only wealth. That's the wealth that we deserve. That's the wealth that is ours. That is the wealth that has been denied to us. Reparations now. Use the hashtag reparations now if you understand the importance of Black wealth and why reparations and things like that are so important. So anyway, how's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are doing well. If you are not doing well, then I hope you're doing better. And also, let's just get it cracking. So I'm going to go in and jump in and answer the first questions that I see. Okay, so these are questions that are already submitted. So if you type a question in the chat, I may see it, but I probably won't because I've got literally about 30 questions right in front of me. I'm going to answer them in rapid fire succession. And so give me a yes or no in the chat if you are a stock market investor. If you're already a stock market investor, type yes in the chat. And if you've been making money, type yes in the chat. I assume you've been making money because everybody's been making money in the stock market. It's been very easy to make money in this market. So the first question is, hello, Dr. Boyce. I missed class on 2/11. Will there be a recording on this site for the boot camp? Yes. You're talking about the Blackwell Bootcamp. The Blackwell Bootcamp, everything is recorded. When you sign up, there's a lifetime membership. Anybody who's listening who's not a member of the Blackwell Bootcamp can actually join at blackwellbootcamp.com. It's designed for the whole family. It doesn't cost that much. And again, like I said, you get recording access to all the previous boot camps, and you get to join all the other future boot camps for free. So that's, I think, a pretty good deal. And it's in the Black Business School. We have 130,000 students worldwide. And so we are educating Black people better than 99% of all universities. So you should give us a try and take a look. We have specialists right here on the line right now that are waiting to talk to you. If you have, a Black wealth journey you'd like for us to help you on. So there you go. So there's that one question. Okay. So the next question that I'm going to answer comes from Sylvan Roberts. Sylvan Roberts would like to know, I'm 19 years old and I'm trying to figure out how to trade options. What are some books that you recommend and some key things that I should be focused on when learning options? Well, Sylvan, first of all, I think it's great that you're doing this at 19. If I had been doing this at 19, I never would have had to work in my life. Like, people don't understand working is optional. Most people don't know enough about wealth to know this, that working is not only the hardest way to make money, it's the most expensive way because you're trading hours of your life for, dollar bills for fiat currency at that, which we know fiat currency is going out of style and going out of value anyway. And so working is really something that I didn't know until I got about 45 years old, that there were people who make 10 times more money than all of us who never work at all. And it comes down to the ownership of assets. So I think it's great that he's learned this at 19. I think your children should be learning it at 9 months. Literally, as soon as they talk, they should be learning about wealth. That's going to make a difference. Books, I don't recommend reading books on options. I recommend maybe taking a class or reading things that are available online and stuff like that. I think a lot of magazine articles are good because they're more up to date, and it doesn't, like reading a book is a commitment, right? You're talking about reading about one topic for a very long period of time. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means that there's a lot of books out there. Whereas if you read different articles, like I love to read articles so I can jump from topic to topic. So I don't have a book on options that I'd recommend because I'm people like me, we write books, right? So I don't really necessarily need to read a book on option theory since I kind of know it. But I think in terms of basics on wealth, people like things like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. They also like books like The 4-Hour Work Week, things like that. But I suggest taking a class on it or something like that, or even watching some videos or something. I think that will go a long way. Also, for those of you that want to learn options from me, feel free to go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com. I actually have a masterclass on options. So if you're interested, feel free to take a look. It's stockoptionsmasterclass.com. Okay, so that's Sylvan's question. Okay, so the next question that I see here is from Ronnie Cromer. Okay, so I'm sending Sylvan his answer. And so Ronnie Cromer, I'm going to send you yours. Okay, so Ronnie Cromer says, hey, Doc, I subscribe to multiple financial resources, Financial Times, CNBC, The Street, Motley Fool, Z-Trade, TD Ameritrade, the Black Business School, Yahoo Finance, Bartech, the Wall Street Journal, too. Let's see here. What are some other good sites? I think you got a lot covered right there. That's really good. I mean, I think, Ronnie, you got a great list. Let me see. Financial Times, CNBC. Did you throw in the Wall Street Journal? Yeah, you said the Wall Street Journal. CNBC, Wall Street Journal, I think you said, when you said Bartech, I'm assuming you mean Bar Chart. Motley Fool. I mean, I know you're in my class because literally these are the resources. This is what I subscribe to. Like, I subscribe to a lot of this stuff. I'm trying to think if you missed anything. I mean, you covered it all. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I subscribe to like specialized services and stuff like that where they do, independent research. But I think from those resources you mentioned, you can get almost everything you want to know. And it's worthwhile to subscribe to these things because they can help you find the right stocks to pick and things like that. So you're not constantly guessing. And if you consider the amount of money you miss out on when you don't subscribe to things, then, it's much, much higher than what you get when you go ahead and pay it up front. So I'm really proud of you. I literally have nothing that I can think of right now to add to that list. I think that is an extraordinary list. Congratulations to Ronnie for being a smart Black man. Just dig deep into what you have, and that's going to be enough for you, in my view. Next question is from Kenneth Ward. Kenneth says, is the Blackwell Bootcamp going to be available soon from 2/11? Yes, it should be in there. If you ever have any questions or issues on the Blackwell Bootcamp or where to get the recordings, just email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com. So there we go. So yes, it should already be in there. And if it's not, then just let somebody know. But it's in there. Usually Carmelita loads everything right after class is done. So let's see. Next question. The next question is from. Another from Kenneth. Okay, Kenneth Ward. I recently invested in a Bitcoin mining program. Okay, this is my first endeavor in investing. First, they said to unfreeze my account, I needed $500. When I gave them $500, they said they needed another $850. Are these scams? Bitcoin mining? Yeah, I wouldn't give them any more money. I mean, maybe there are reviews online that you can check out to see if this company is legit. But it sounds like they might be sucking you dry, brother. So if I were you, I would be very, very careful about this particular investment because by now I'm imagining some money should have been coming out or something. I wouldn't mess with that. But yeah, so don't touch that. Go talk to somebody who's an expert in crypto. And speaking of crypto, if you guys want to see my crypto portfolio, actually you can go to drboycecrypto.com, drboycecrypto.com. If you sign up there, then I can show you. I did a screenshot of what I bought, and it's made a lot of money. That crypto portfolio has done really well to this point. I picked it by talking to experts, so feel free to, if you just want to see what I bought, you can go to drboycecrypto.com. Okay, so the next question is for Antoinette, and Antoinette Day would like to know. Okay, so you're asking about the bootcamp again. Okay, so Antoinette, all right. Yeah, the Blackwell Bootcamp recordings are always available less than a week after the class. So you can go to blackwellbootcamp.com, log in, and you can find all the recordings. Okay, next question is Christopher Payne. Christopher wants to know, should I buy XRP right now? Okay, so Christopher, what I would say, Christopher, about XRP is this. Nobody really knows, in my view, what's going to happen with XRP. There are people that suspect. Most experts I've spoken with, including and myself as well. I'm not an expert in crypto, but I'm an expert in finance. We think that whole lawsuit against XRP is garbage, and it's stupid. It's a weird personal vendetta. Even the previous commissioner of the SEC said that the suit was a bad idea and it had no precedence. But for some reason, someone decided to do it anyway. So despite all that, the best I would say with that is that, if justice prevails, then that suit would go away. But there's a chance that it may not. So what I've done with my XRP is I didn't buy any more XRP, but I didn't sell the XRP I owned, because I know that if the suit gets dropped, the price of XRP is going to skyrocket. And also, if you've been looking at the price of XRP lately, it's actually been going up. And I don't know if that's because people think that there's a chance the suit's going to be dropped or what. But I personally think that it's nonsense. But I wouldn't bet the house on it, because sometimes the government just does things that's stupid, and you don't want your money to get caught up in stupid situations. So I would just say be very, very careful as you make your decision on what to do next. Okay, so let me see. So next question. Okay, so the next question is from Barbara Arenega, Barbara Arenega, who would like to know, today's video by Elon Musk was very interesting. I had several takeaways. One I didn't hear you include was when a demand for a commodity goes up, the cost goes up, right? Second was what was the outcome from the prison campaign to end mass incarceration you and Russell Simmons did? Okay, first off, when the demand for a commodity goes up, the price tends to go up as long as the supply remains pretty stagnant. If the supply remains stagnant or drops or doesn't go up too high, then the price will go up if demand goes up. But if supply goes up more than demand, then the price could actually go down. But most of the time, if everything else is constant, or what they call it, there's a French term for it, ceteris paribus. I think that was the term, ceteris paribus. All else equal, everything the same. I think that's correct. If everything stays the same, then an increase in demand will increase price. Also, the second piece is Russell Simmons. Yeah, we did a mass incarceration campaign in 2013 where we took on the Obama administration and we wrote a letter to them asking them to address the mass incarceration epidemic that's significantly affected the Black community. And I'm going to tell you, I was really disappointed because I thought the Obama administration would be friendly to this effort, and they were not supportive. They were very difficult to work with, and they didn't want to do anything. And it took signatures of over 100 different celebrities, white and Black. I'm talking about the Kardashians to Will and Jada Smith to rappers like Rick Ross, and HBCU presidents signed that letter. And I wrote the letter. Russell got the celebrities to sign it, and I got some activists to sign it. And actually what sent it over the top. And even when we were about to release the letter, Russell was getting a lot of pressure from the White House not to release the letter. But credit to Russell, he went ahead and did it anyway. I wrote the letter, but Russell Simmons is, he's the big fish in all this. It was a partnership between he and I. And the thing that actually set it off, that actually got them to really respond, was when Justin Bieber tweeted our hashtag, end the war on drugs. And when he tweeted that hashtag, it became the #3 trending hashtag in the world. And that's when the Obama administration finally made some moves on incarceration. But it was very difficult. And I really didn't think it should be that hard to get them to simply keep a campaign promise. But that's part of when I became very cynical about politicians. So if you think that I'm just overly cynical, just know that I get that, because 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I was far less cynical than I am right now. But you have to work with some of these bastards to know how terrible they can be sometimes. No disrespect to anybody, but it's just what I've seen. Okay, so next question, Frida King. Frida is asking, I'm new at options trading. I opened a margin account at E-Trade. I really don't want to trade on borrowed funds right away, and I've already used $825 on margin. How do I pay off $825 and close out the margin account in E-Trade? I still want to trade, but only with my cash account. Well, they have settings in E-Trade, Frida, where you can go in there and tell them, how to limit you want to limit your margin. And the way you might want to, the way you may end up having to reduce the amount of debt that you owe is by, like I know with Robinhood anyway, for sure, there's a button you can hit where you can just put a cap on how much debt you want to take on. Now, if you own a bunch of stock and half of that is debt and you want to reduce your debt, then you're going to have to sell some stock or provide some cash. Those are the only two ways you can resolve that, right? Either come up with more cash to pay off the debt, or you have to just sell some stock to pay off the debt. But I think that's smart of you to be careful about debt, because debt can get a lot of people in trouble. So margin can either be a blessing or a curse, depending on how it's used. But either way, if you ever use it, I encourage you all to be very careful with it, because debt can be a stinky bastard if it gets out of hand. Okay, so let me write down Frida's thing. By the way, these were questions that were submitted in advance. Those of you that want to send me questions and have me answer them directly and guarantee me, like sometimes I randomly answer questions, but if you want to me to specifically answer your question specifically, the Ask Dr. Boyce component is actually free with the Black Stock Market program. So I'll give you guys the URL if you want to try it out. The first month is free. So it's the blackstockmarketprogram.com. So feel free to go take a look if you're not in there yet. Okay, so Eric Davis is asking, is purchasing a bond different from purchasing a stock? Yes, Eric, purchasing a bond and a stock have similarities, but they're not the same. A stock is equity ownership in a company. A bond means you don't have any equity, but you get paid before the stockholders. But and also you typically get paid maybe with interest payments or something like that. So a bondholder is basically somebody that doesn't want as much risk as a stockholder, right? Because when you get paid last and you only get paid after all the bills are paid, then that's a riskier position to be in than if you get paid a certain amount no matter what, where they got to pay you first. So a bond is a promise to pay. So when they say my word is bond or whatever, right, that's basically saying that I'm making a promise. I'm making a promise, a commitment, that I'm going to, or when an employee is bonded, that's sort of a commitment that employee is safe or whatever. So a bond is just a promise to pay, whereas stocks with equity, you don't owe anybody anything. You only pay them if the company makes a profit and they get the upside. So actually in theory, what's really interesting is that actually stock is really an option. You can show mathematically that actually a share of stock is really the exact same as an option, just in a different context. So, but I won't go into that too much. But yeah, so are they different? Yes, they're very different. They trade on different markets, and that's what it is. So, okay, so next question is from, crap, I lost my questions. Okay, so I'll pull them up. Let me look in the chat and see. Let's see here. If you're a novice investor, okay, it looks like somebody's answering someone's questions. Robinhood doesn't like to give your money back right away when you cash out, but Coinbase gives it to you the same day you cash out. Yeah, Robinhood's a little bit slower, but Robinhood's not so terrible. I mean, they got their issues, but I don't hate Robinhood. I think it's not a perfect platform, and we saw some of the problems that came up with the whole situation with Reddit. But I don't think Robinhood's a worthless platform. But it does have its issues. Okay, let's see. El Haj is asking, are you coming out with a new stock options course? Yes, I am. And basically in this stock options course, which I've been working on for a year, I'm actually going to show you exactly how I make money with my stock options, how I pick the stocks I want to own, how I pick the strike prices, how I pick the sell of the options. And it's really designed for people that want to understand stock options, number one, and number two, want to generate income from their portfolio, like monthly income, that kind of thing. And that was something I created because it was something I wanted to do, but it's also something that I know a lot of you were asking me about. So this is a method. I don't see a lot of people really talking about it online. And so I thought I would kind of dig in with it. And it's actually kind of fun. It actually lets me use my PhD a little bit because it involves some theoretical concepts that but I can explain it, and kind of help you see what it is. But I kind of like doing the deep dives too, so you can really understand what you're doing and not just do it because you're following me. I want you to do it because you have some idea of what's going on. Okay, so yes. So the answer is yes, El Haj. The options class is definitely coming. Okay, next question is from Jamie Fields. Jamie asks, Dr. Watkins, how does the company earnings report affect the price of the premium or price of the option on that company stock? Well, an earnings report doesn't do a whole lot to the options. The earnings report affects the stock, and the stock affects the option. So the stock is kind of like the parent, the option is sort of like the child. So, the earnings report doesn't affect the options directly. It affects the stock, which it also affects the options. And so basically, if an earnings report comes out, what happens is the market takes in all the information about the company, they form an expectation. And based on that expectation, they compare the expectation to what actually happens. So it's like if the Kansas City Chiefs are playing in the Super Bowl, the expectation was that they were going to win. Well, they didn't win and they didn't play very well. So it's not to say that they played badly or that they're a terrible team. It just means that they were terrible compared to what you expected them to be. So the expectation is a really important part of that whole process. So basically, companies are always given expectations, and if they don't meet their expectations, then their stock price drops, which is actually one of the big failings of modern capitalism, if you ask my opinion. I personally think that's one of the big problems with capitalism. So Barbara, we have a question from Miss Barbara Aranaga. Barbara Aranaga asks, in responding to Mr. Gary McCummings, I've been inundated with email, feed the Black families. I also received messages from Blackity Keith Anderson. Are you familiar with him? No, I do not know either one of these guys. Gary McCummings, now, you responded to Gary McCummings. Okay. Yeah, Gary McCummings, I think that's the brother that owns the land. I don't know Keith Anderson. I love my Black people, but there's some fakes. Okay, okay, yeah, I don't know any of these people, Barbara, except for you mentioned Gary McCummings. I interviewed him. I don't know him, but I interviewed him. The other person, I don't know Keith Anderson. Maybe I do, but I can't. I know the name does not ring a bell. So yeah, whoever reaches out to you, vet them out first. Sometimes I'll talk about something on my show, and then people will follow up with that person. And they'll follow up with them as if, oh, you're a friend of Dr. Boyce's. No, boy, just know this. Boyce ain't got that many friends. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm so busy. I work so hard on stuff, and the friendship time I have, I give that to my woman and my kids. So I'm their friend, and I'm your friend too. I love all of y'all in here, but I don't really have that ability to really get out and mingle and hang out and stuff because there's too much work to do. There's too many important things we got to do in the community, and I'm pretty busy with that. So anyway, next question. Let's see here. Next question is from, okay, I already answered Barbara's question. Okay, it looks like Barbara was in here twice. So let's back out Barbara's question. Okay, next question I see is from Nisha. Nisha says, I have a question about a new company called Extreme FX Global. The company is a multi-level marketing company, provides Forex education on a retail platform. Do you have any knowledge of this company? The founders, Megan and Reagan Lynch, two African-American women. No, I do not. And honestly, no disrespect to the company. I don't know anything about this particular company, but I'm not into multi-level marketing. It's no disrespect. And believe me, I get invited to join MLMs all the time because people see that I have a big network and all that stuff, but I'm not interested. So if you're in an MLM, this is not disrespect to you. I hope you're making $1 trillion a year, but I can't get involved with that just because too many people walk away from MLMs unhappy, and that can cause a backlash toward me if they think I guided them toward something like that. So no disrespect, but that's not my thing. Jamari. Okay, so Jamari Simpson. Let me see. That's the next question. 2404. Okay. Okay, so Jamari. How do you spell that? Jamari. Okay, so Jamari says, I'm 14 and I want to start making money at this age. So I want to learn how to invest in the stock market. First of all, let's clap for Jamari. I think that's really great that you're 14 doing this. I wish I'd been doing this when I was 14. If I had discovered stuff like this when I was 14, I would have had a whole different life. I swear to God, I kid you not. My whole life would have been completely different if I started investing when I was young. But nobody in my family knew anything about this type of stuff. They only knew about getting jobs and all that stuff. I think, Jamari, if you want to get started, start with little amounts of money. Maybe get you a little job, get you a little income, and buy as much stock as possible. Like collect stock the way some brothers collect pairs of shoes, or, collect stock, literally the way you collect baseball cards or anything that like if you get in the habit early of just buying more and more shares of stock, you could be in a position where you never, ever have to work for anybody ever in your entire life. And I'm not joking when I say this. So I think the stock market is a great way to start because anybody can invest in the stock market. There's actually been a guy named Burton Malkiel actually taught monkeys how to invest, and the monkeys actually made more money than the people who didn't invest. So if you're not investing, just know that that monkeys can make more money than you. Literally, I'm not joking. This is not figurative. This is not an exaggeration. This is not me being facetious. This is me being honest and accurate. Look it up. It's called a random walk down Wall Street. Burton Malkiel did the experiment in 1974. So if you're a kid, I think the stock market is a great way to start. Get your parents to get you on an app or something like that. Another thing that it's good for kids to know is have a little business. My 10-year-old was telling me today that she wants to get her lemonade stand started up again. And we are going to do that because I want her to know how to make her money like a boss as a little girl, so that, she's not getting slapped around by some man when she's 25 years old because she can't afford to pay the bills by herself, because I'd hate to have to come kill him. And then the third piece is real estate. Every child should understand very early that owning property is better than renting property. And really, if you get in the habit of owning assets early, then you're going to be in better shape than most people. And in fact, actually, I can tell you how to become a business owner in 30 seconds or less. You want me to tell you how to become a business owner in 30 seconds or less? How many of you want me to tell you how to become a business owner in 30 seconds or less? Say yes if you want me to explain that to you. Okay, here's how you become a business owner in 30 seconds or less. Open up your app, find a company that you like, McDonald's or something. Open up your Robinhood app and buy you 1 share of McDonald's. Now you're a business owner. Now you own a piece of McDonald's. You don't have to flip any burgers. You don't have to do any work. And it sounds crazy. It sounds silly. It sounds overly simplified, but it's fundamentally 100% true. The people that own stock in a company own the actual company. If you want to know how did Elon Musk become the richest man in the world? Well, he owns a hell of a lot of stock in Tesla. Tesla stock went up in value. His net worth went up in value along with Tesla stock. How did Jeff Bezos become the richest man in the world before Elon Musk? Well, he owns a hell of a lot of stock in Amazon. And as the price of Amazon stock went up, his wealth went up. It's literally that straightforward and that simple. It is not a fabrication. It is not overly complicated. And it's better to be a passive owner than to be an active owner. A lot of people make you believe that to be a business owner, you got to be ready to be this back-breaking, bust of sweat entrepreneur where you're just working 100-hour weeks and all that. And I get that. I used to think that way. And I think there's still some virtue in that. There's still a lot of fun in that. But sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes you'd rather manage your assets from your yacht or something. And so after you spend time becoming a back-breaking entrepreneur and you get some income and you've acquired some wealth or acquired some stock and assets, then you can actually sit back and have your wealth come in just by virtue of the fact that you actually own things and those assets are making money when you're not working. So I know plenty of people who don't work at all who make a lot more money than almost any person you've ever met who actually works every day, including NBA players. I know people that make the amount of money that LeBron James makes and literally don't have to get up and go to work, don't have to dribble a basketball, don't have to do anything. So that's real. Okay, so there you go. Stock market participation is easy, simple, straightforward, and I encourage you to consider it if you haven't done so yet. In fact, that is, when you look at the research says that is the number one driver of wealth in America. And it's been that way for a very long time. So this ain't nothing new. This is not a fad. Okay, next question. By the way, if you haven't checked out my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, if you're into that pro-Black thing, that's I call that my pro-Black manifesto, my long-term vision for the Black community. You feel free to go take a look. You can go to allblackeconomics.com, and it's totally free. Hundreds of thousands of people have read it. It doesn't take long to read. I hope you'll read it with your family, and it was well thought out. So feel free to go to allblackeconomics.com. Okay, so Clifton, Mr. Clifton Ely, E-L-E-Y, asks, Dr. Boyce, in very basic layman's terms, what is a hedge fund and how do they work? Do you recommend them? Hedge funds are a lot like mutual funds. The only difference is that hedge funds do a lot of crazy stuff when it comes to investing. Like mutual funds can only go long in a stock, like they can only own, they can only buy. They can't actually go and short sell and all this other stuff. Hedge funds can short sell. They can get involved in complex derivatives transactions, things like that. They sort of do these or they do arbitrage. Arbitrage is where you might buy and sell at the same time and try to, sort of pocket the difference. And you do it a trillion times, so you end up making a bunch of money because you're making like a third of a penny on every transaction. Just crazy stuff. And so hedge funds can be good. Hedge fund managers make a lot of money. Hedge fund managers, some of them make over $1 billion a year. Like literally, imagine one person making over $1 billion a year. But the danger is that they put themselves in such crazy leveraged positions that when a hedge fund sinks, sometimes they can bring the whole ship down with them. And so there are a lot of people that feel that hedge funds need to be more deeply regulated because some of their activity is not necessarily good for standard economic growth. And I tend to be in that camp that agrees with that assessment. I think that hedge funds are a little bit too far on the risky side at times, to the point where the bad can outweigh the good. Okay, next question is from Nettie. Miss Nettie is asking, Nettie Holmes, Dr. Watkins, does your company, the Black Business School, report to Dun & Bradstreet? Yes. If so, what is your process? I don't know the entire process. I know my accountants handle that. If not, why not? I'd love to learn your thoughts of business credit profile service. We've enrolled in 2 programs. I'm trying to establish a business credit profile. Yeah, I don't know if you necessarily need to enroll in a service, but I do think that if the service has proven results, I think that could be a good thing, because if you have solid business credit, that can allow you to, get a lot of things done. A lot of small business owners have trouble getting loans from banks. And when you go get a loan from a bank and you have a business, even if your business makes money, usually they're going to want the owner of the business, the entrepreneur, to personally guarantee that loan. And so that if that's not something you want to do, then yeah, you want to establish business credit and separate yourself from the business as much as possible. What I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs doing is when they can't get bank loans, there are lots of companies online like Cabbage with a K, PayPal, etc., that offer loans with without that don't have terrible terms. For small business owners that are just looking to get extra capital. So like with PayPal, if you establish a good relationship with PayPal and they see your transactions coming through, sometimes they'll loan you money without worrying about your credit score, because they know how much money you're making. They see the money going in and out, and they can actually go confiscate money out of your account if you don't pay the loan back. So that might be a place to kind of look at and start. Even Shopify offers loans for entrepreneurs, mostly working capital loans. But if you're trying to get the big loans that actually give you the capital base that you need, then establishing business credit is really the way to go. So I think if there's a service out there that does do it, a business credit score is a lot like a personal credit score. The problem is, though, that a lot of the expenses you pay don't get reported to the credit bureau. So that's something where you might actually need to get some help. So I would talk to your accountant, or if you have a service that actually can do a good job, that's proven to do a good job, I might look into that. Okay, so next, let me move on to the next one. The next question comes from Virginia, Miss Virginia Plump. So Miss Virginia's asking, is there an app to practice stock market investing strategies? You know what? I saw an app that does that, but I can't remember the name of it. Because I remember I wanted to try it with our kids program. Let me see. You know what? I don't have a name in front of me. But let me see here. Look up stock market game, because they've actually got several here that I've just searched. I just literally looked. This is a quick Google search. So names that come up: top 15 stock market game apps for iOS and Android. They've got Wall Street Survivor, Investopedia Stock Simulator, Stock Trainer, Virtual Trading, Market Watch Game, Stock Market Simulator by NYX Core. Is that Bucks Mobile? Investor, INVSTR, Investing for Everyone, Stock Market Simulator. So there's a ton out there. So that might be a good place to start with one of those apps that I just mentioned. Okay, so there we are. So we answered Miss Virginia's question. And The next question is from Sharda. Miss Sharda. Sharday. Is that Sharday? I think that's Sharday. Miss Sharday Davis. Sade. I was listening to Sade yesterday. Hello, Dr. Boyce Watkins. Thank you for your time. I made the first step in stock market investing. I invested only $50. Good for you. I invested in almost 20 various businesses. So you bought into 20 businesses with $50. Wow, that's pretty efficient. But I put maybe $2 or $3 more towards bonds. My portfolio is still saying I'm not diversified. Can you explain what I'm doing wrong? If you have 20 stocks, you should be pretty diversified. I mean, theoretically, I think it's 22. Back in grad school, that was the number they gave us it's the number to aim for. But really, I think 20 is pretty good. Also, remember that you could just buy into a couple of mutual funds and you'll be as diversified as you need to be because mutual funds are already diversified. So if you buy a piece of a mutual fund, you're buying a piece of a lot of different companies. That's why mutual funds are less likely to go bankrupt than individual companies because mutual funds are already kind of spread out and they have their money in different places. So there we go. All right. So those are the questions that were submitted by you guys. I'll skip through some of your questions that you actually have in the chat. If anybody has a quick one, make it quick, like a one sentencer, and I'll answer quick because my baby's waiting for me and we got to watch Star Trek. So, but I'll answer some questions really fast if you guys have any. And also, by the way, if you want to send questions and stuff like that, the Ask Dr. Boyce component is free, and I'll answer every single question from every single student. So you can go to the blackstockmarketprogram.com, THE, it's right there, and so I literally answer your questions directly, individually. So let's see, how do you feel about REITs, real estate investment trusts? I like them. I think it's a great way to invest in real estate without actually having to own real estate. What are your thoughts on the satellite 5G internet distribution to hard to reach areas? I think it's a great future there. 5G, my 5G play is probably it's not that deep. It's maybe Verizon or something like that. I own some Verizon. What do you think about Sundial? I think that's a cannabis company. I think cannabis as an industry, Felicia, is going to do extremely well. Felicia's my grandmother's name, so I already love you to death because I miss my grandma. We named our panther, our Black Panther, for the Black Business School after my grandmother. So the panther's name is Felicia, just so you know, just as a fun fact. But anyway, I think Sundial's fine. I think if I'm not mistaken, though, Sundial was part of that whole pump and dump that they did to Tilray from the Wall Street Bets Forum, which I don't like those pump and dumps. Those are very dangerous. Well, the options give me a full ability to trade options. The options class, yeah. If you go to stockoptionsmasterclass.com, that's what we do. That's the goal, to make sure that you understand options. And you guys know I kind of enjoy explaining things in creative ways. So that's a lot of fun for me. What do you think about Fundrise? I like Fundrise. I haven't put any money in there, but I checked it out and I thought it was good. What's a good stock platform? Asked Motown B. I'm a beginner. I think as much as Robinhood has gotten a lot of grief lately, Robinhood's not bad. Robinhood, Stash, Acorns, those are all great places to start. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, if you guys care, but if you're into that type of stuff, I created a gaming channel on Twitch at Dr. Boy. You can go to drboycetwitch.com, or my Twitch handle is Bo Watkin, Bowatkin, and I actually play Call of Duty with my kids and talk about stocks and what's going on with the stock market, like while we're playing, and we're like blowing people's heads off and talking about stocks at the same time. So I thought it would be something fun to do. Let's see here. Suprinter says, I can't wait for his next options class. Well, I can't wait to see you. Thank you for your kind words. Let's see here. Dr. Watkins, Kevin, what's the proper way to take profits, sell initial investment, or take gains? You know, Kevin, it's like a religion. It's like, what's better, to be a Catholic, Jewish, or to be, Muslim? Well, it's all a preference, right? So, some people take their profits. Some people sell the initial investment and they play with the house's money. Some people borrow against the stock. Some people sell the options. There's a lot of ways to take your profits, or sometimes you don't have to take them at all. Sometimes you reinvest the profits. I reinvest most of my profits because I want to build a base of wealth. And that's just, but because eventually when you make enough money, you don't need, it's not like you need to take profits so you can buy groceries or whatever. Like eventually you have what you need. So what's the goal then? Well, the goal then is to build an asset base. And I think that should be the goal of everybody at some point. Let's see. What do you think about investing in banks? Ask Monet. Banks are okay. It's not an exciting investment for me, but some of them are better than others. I mean, Berkshire is a good company. You said the stock is at 365,000. That's so crazy. Yeah, Warren Buffett sets the price really high because he doesn't want everybody investing in his company. That's what we call in finance. You call that the clientele effect. The clientele effect is where you don't want everybody owning your company because you don't feel like every idiot deserves a right to vote on the direction of your company. So Warren Buffett is like, I want my stock price to be so high so that nobody can actually buy it. Derek, Doc, do you do any Forex trading? I do a little bit, but Forex is a hard market to make money in. Doesn't mean I can't. It just means that it's like the stock market's just easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. Forex is, and I know that people are going to argue and debate me on this, and I'm not here to debate anybody about it, but that's not my favorite market. It's very liquid, though. It's very liquid, and it runs 24 hours a day. But unfortunately, the Forex market and the options market attracts a lot of people who like to gamble, and I'm not a gambler. I'm not here to gamble. I'm actually here to build wealth. That's what I'd like to do. How do you value a company? You value companies based on something called the present value of an annuity model. And with that model, you're taking all the money the company is expected to make in the future, and you're putting it into a financial time machine, and then you come up with a number, and it's based on what they call discounting. So it's like if I told you, for example, let's say I told you I'm going to give you $1,000 a year for the next 20 years, right? Well, 1,000 times 20 is $20,000, right? And I said, okay, so you can either get $1,000 a year for 20 years, or you can get some amount of money today that you instead, right? Which number would you rather have? They ask you that question whenever you buy a lottery ticket. They're always like, would you like your money as a lump sum, or would you like it as, payments over a long period of time, right? Well, obviously, if 1,000 times 20 is 20,000, and I say, how much do I need to offer you now instead of $1,000 a year for 20 years? Well, it's not going to be 20,000. Maybe some of you I could offer you 19,000. You'd be like, yeah, I'll take that, right? Or and for some of you, I might be able to offer you 12,000, and you might rather take that, right? Well, that's because there's something called the time value of money, where money in the future is not worth the same as money now, because money depreciates in value. You have opportunity costs where you've lost the money, the ability to use the money for other things. You have to wait. Like some people don't want to wait. That's what they call the impatience parameter. Also, there's risk. What if I just don't pay you? What if I pay you the first 5 years and forget to pay you the last 15, right? So all these factors are put into a mathematical equation that allow you to come up with a number that defines what that $20,000 over 20 years is actually worth if you were to get it in a lump sum today. And that's where stock prices are. That's what stock prices are. You're paying a value today that matches the worth of all the money the company is going to make in the future, right? So that's what it is. That's how it works. And it's more complex than that, but that's kind of the big picture. Do you agree with Dave Ramsey's financial philosophy? Most of them, yes. I like Dave Ramsey in general. I did disagree with Ramsey on his issue when it came to the stimulus check. I thought his stimulus comments were a little bit off the mark. I felt like they were a little bit out of touch. Dave Ramsey's worth about $475 million. And I personally think that a guy who's worth $475 million probably should be very careful when he's chastising people about what they should do with their $600 stimulus check. What do you think of Jumia? Asked Henry. I like Jumia. I own lots of Jumia. I own hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of Jumia stock. Should you sell and trade stocks? Yes. Let's see here. I want my interests. It says Lynn. Okay. Is the stock option course discussing day trade? Asked Big Moonshot. I'm not big on day trading. I can explain to you how it works and what it is. But stock options, I focus mostly on the different strategies that are used to allow you to use options in a multitude of ways. So what happens is, people have like usually one method. It's like basketball, right? The way people do options is, imagine a basketball player who only knows how to shoot layups, and that's it, right? But there's a lot of different ways to score, right? There's a lot of different variables that go into playing a basketball game. You can take 3-point shots. You got to shoot free throws. You got to be able to lay it up with your left and your right hand. You got to learn how to pass, dribble, play defense, right? So I like to teach options from that sort of perspective, where you're not, anybody can go shoot a layup, but I'd rather have you learn all the aspects of the game so that you can position yourself in the way that you want to be positioned based on what it is you want to do. Okay, so my brother says, shout out to Dr. Watkins for sharing his wealth of knowledge. Well, shout out to you for those kind words. From one black man to another, I appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. Let's see, Ron, have you ever been on the Earn Your Leisure podcast? No, I have not, but I know the guys at Earn Your Leisure. I met them on Jay Morrison's thing, and I had the Wall Street Trapper on recently, and I like him a lot. I like all those guys a lot. Those guys are like my teammates in my mind. These are the guys that's the future. These individuals are the reason that Black men and Black women as well are going to become the leading greatest investors on the planet. I believe Black people are now hungry for wealth. I believe that we're not going to get reparations for a while. That'll be a fake check. That's going to be fake. When we get our reparations, it's going to be some BS, stupid little political compromise that won't really make a difference. We're going to get real reparations. Real reparations is where we're going to be so good at accumulating wealth and assets that we're going to actually take ourselves to a level that you can never get to in a government check. And because the thing is, remember we were talking about that, right? That they won't give you reparations for slavery, but they spend your whole life giving you preparations for slavery. So they've been preparing you for slavery since you were little. So you didn't get the reparations, but you got the preparations through the school system, the way they indoctrinated you to go give all your money to a big white university that was only going to go teach you to go work for another white man. Those are all preparations for slavery. So you didn't get reparations for slavery. Instead, they gave you preparations for slavery. But I believe you're going to get real reparations, which is where basically you're going to flip the script. A segment of the Black community is going to have children that are going to be so wealthy that their biggest problem is actually going to be the fact that there are going to be people that actually are mad at them because they're doing so well. That they will be what the Jewish community is right now, because the Jewish community they did what we're doing right now. That's how they became so powerful. They did what we're doing right now, which is making it a cultural value to build wealth. Like that is becoming part of our culture. I'm seeing it. I knew when I first started doing this, I said, if the rappers start rapping about this, if I can get the rappers to start rapping about wealth and owning assets and investing, the whole community is going to do it. And that's what you have. I don't know what part I played in this. I don't know. I know a lot of rappers, but I don't know how. Maybe I played a tiny part. I don't know. But a lot of us did. Right. So now it's part of your culture. So because it's part of your culture, you're going to be the best at it. Just like playing basketball and football and all this other stuff is part of your culture. You're the best at that. You're going to be the best at this, too. So I love Earn Your Leisure. I love Wall Street Trapper. I love all the guys out here that are in the women as well that are just doing what they're doing. I just think it's beautiful. And I think you're living in the middle of a beautiful revolution. You are making Black history. And I applaud you for that. And I congratulate you. So don't let stupid people distract you. We got to stay focused. We got work to do. Okay, let me see. I'm going to read a few more questions. Book recommendation outside of you and Claude Anderson's books that you enjoy. Stone Age. I enjoy books by Cornel West. Let's see. What books do I have here? I have The Blueprint for Black Power by Amos Wilson. I should do a class on this. This is such a great book. This book is almost 1,000 pages, and we don't talk about this book enough, but I think I'm going to go ahead and go through some of this stuff. I mean, he goes real deep. I mean, he spent a lifetime on this sucker, so it's beautiful. So there you go. That's one recommendation. The 4-Hour Work Week. I like Traction for Business. I thought that book was good. It's called Traction. Let's see. Carlo, how do taxes work? Would you have to claim what you sold income tax time? Yeah. Carlo, talk to your accountant. I'm not a tax professional. I'm not an accountant. So talk to your accountant to make sure you pay your taxes, because when you're making money, the IRS wants their money first. Uncle Sam always shows up to get paid. Never think that he forgot to come get his money from you. By the way, financialworkbooks.com, that's where if you have kids and you want your kids to learn about wealth, you can actually take a look at our financial flashcards and workbooks at financialworkbooks.com. So the URL is right there on the screen. JT, Doc, do you have a day trading class? No, I do not. Honestly, because I'm not super passionate about day trading. There's a lot of churn and a lot of money gets lost that way. So I'm not a big fan of day trading per se, because unfortunately there's a lot in investing that overlaps with gambling. In fact, the Wall Street Journal did a great article about all the people that got body slammed financially when the Reddit Wall Street Bets thing happened with Reddit. And I knew this. I was talking about this. And then finally, I'm glad they're talking about it as well, is that, everybody doesn't win. Like when you have these kinds of crazy battles where they're like, oh, we're going to stick it to the man. We're going to stick it to Wall Street. No, a lot of people that lost money were like 24-year-olds who didn't have that much money to begin with. So a lot of people get hurt when there's a pump and dump. That's why I say be very careful about that. Let's see. Rico, what's a good brokerage account to start with? I like Robinhood, Stash, Acorns. I hear Webull's pretty good. I haven't tried it, but I hear that's pretty good too. Let's see. How do you feel about penny stocks? Says Layla. I'm in your Blackwell Bootcamp class. Well, bless you, Layla. How do I feel about penny stocks? I think penny stocks are risky. I'm not a big fan of penny stocks because they trade in a very bad market. And a lot of more people get burned than actually make money in penny stocks. I mean, if you want to go gamble, then that's cool. But just know when you're buying penny stocks, most of the time, you're not really investing. Investing is where you kind of do something consistently. You put your money in solid companies that are going to have earnings growth over time, like a Disney or whatever. But penny stocks is where you're buying like shares of these obscure companies, hoping that something magical is going to happen where the price will quadruple and your money will grow really fast. And that's okay. Like there's a good high with that. But I don't want you to just build your empire on faulty, on fast money bricks. I want you to build your empire on the slow money bricks. The slow money is the long money. The slow money is the deep money. The slow money is the big money. So I want you to have the big money. All right. So I hear my woman coming downstairs. I think it's Star Trek time. We watch Star Trek Discovery. We're both Trekkies. We're such nerds, but she's a professor and so am I. So maybe we're supposed to be nerds. I don't know. But I would tell you, fellas, if you want to meet a beautiful Black woman who's got her hair screwed on straight. Don't go running looking for a wife at the club. Find your woman in the library. I found her in the library, and she was the prettiest woman I ever saw. I literally saw her across a crowded room, and now here we are years later, sitting there fighting with the kids, watching Star Trek. So whatever kind of person you are, find a person in a place that matches what you are. Don't let anybody tell you to become something else so that you can go meet people, because you'll be out of your element, right? Like, so I was never a club guy. Even when I was 21 and I could drink, I didn't drink and I didn't go to the club because that just wasn't my thing. And what would I look like dating a woman who wanted to be at the club all the time? No, I wanted to be my wife. I met that beautiful Black woman at the library, and she had the same swag as a Black woman, same curves as a beautiful Black woman, got my attention like a beautiful Black woman on every dimension. She got my attention. And here we are years later, and we still have that in common. So find somebody that matches who you are. Don't try to fit in with the rest of the world because you're only going to be unhappy. Make the rest of the world fit in with you. You're good enough. All right. So I'm out of here. Have a good day. Thank you for listening. It was fun talking to you. Hit the thumbs up button on your way out the door, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Peace.